Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. And today's topic, as you can see on the ticker, is Kedarnath acting notes and success interview review. So, full disclosure, I haven't watched the movie, I only have heard the songs. So, this is my analysis based simply on what I observe in Sushant Singh's notes and also his interview. So, welcome. Let's see. So, if any one of you has any other idea other than what I'm reviewing it as, please, by all means, you're welcome to counter it. So, welcome. Let's do this. I'm going to first start sharing the screen. Okay. So, this is the one. Okay. If you can see here, so this is one of the very popular pictures that we keep seeing of Sushant meditating. And I just wanted to start off with this one because it's just so inspiring to me. Meetu ji, hi, welcome, ma'am. Very excited to have you here. Thank you for being here. Again, I always tell you guys, you could be anywhere in the world doing whatever you could with your free will, but you choose to be here. So I really appreciate the footage. So if you see this, the idea here is I'm going to break it down into a few segments and I'm going to walk you through what the idea is going to be at the beginning. So this gentleman from Bollywood Hangama, Faridun Shariar, is going to be interviewing Sushant, and I'm going to be taking a few timestamps here, and we are going to be analyzing what he's talking about at any given point of time. So that's that. And the second thing that I'm going to be doing is there are a few acting notes that I have of his in his own handwriting, and we are going to be analyzing those and what he means, with his preparation and everything, how his thought process is leading up to playing the part of Mansoor in the movie. So these are amazing notes, and these are just, how a person chooses to live so optimally is what is shown here. And I'm going to walk you through all of these notes that I have. If any one of you has any extra notes, I would love to have them. These are all that I have found on the internet. So there is. These are all something that I've found on Twitter, especially in through Google searches and in on Pinterest, where some of his fans, writers have posted them. So okay, so let's see. Himanshu ji, welcome. Vasudha ji, welcome. Jay Madan, namaskaram. Thank you. Welcome. So excited to have you guys here. Let's just keep rolling, and I'm going to play a few timestamps here, and then a few timestamps, and then some notes, timestamps, notes. That is how we are going to progress. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the first timestamp I have here is, let's see, just I'll pause it intermittently so that we can keep reviewing this. So if you don't get the audio, please let me know. I'm also trying to avoid some copyright strikes, so I'm going to keep pausing intermittently and also reviewing it. It's like fair use for commentary. That's what this is going to go under. So, okay, Jay Madanji, yes, absolutely, sir. Yeah, it's just whenever I'm trying to do some research and trying to put this together, also I just feel this unbelievable excitement and this kind of motivation and momentum that I just can't describe. Priyanka ji, welcome, ma'am. Thank you for being here. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to pause it after a few seconds. Just let's listen.
In a way, and or be the class divide. There's a lot of subtlety in your performance. Would you like to talk about that?
I think
So the gentleman is talking about subtlety and nuances, and as you can see, these words are going to keep coming up in his answers over and over again. So the question was, the lot of subtleties you don't express as much, especially in the character of Mansoor. You just let your walking and your expressions and everything do the communication. So how do you do that kind of a question? So
I think it's very recently that I realized one thing, that we all act all the time. I'm not saying act in terms of that we lie all the time, but I'm saying that we generally act all the time. And as an actor, what I used to
so look how he says how we are acting in our regular life as well. Sometimes we act because we don't want to hurt other people's feelings. Sometimes we act because we are just uncomfortable in the situation, but we don't want to express ourselves in a way that is hurtful to the other person or something, right? So he's saying that, and look how he puts a juxtaposition to what he does in his own acting career. I think it's a brilliant take on how he himself is an actor with as many restrained emotions as possible.
do in films is that we are told not to act, make it natural, make it natural. Well, that's a great way to go. But then I thought my characters, just like me, could also act in front of my co-characters. So when you think like that, then you try to cut down your emotions so that the other co-character does not. If you don't want to, if you don't want them to know, then you're cutting down on emotions. And what
So once again, I just want to play this once again so that we get it in its full context. It's just amazing. So what he's saying is he also allows his character to also act and not just simply follow the script and try to put all his emotions out, but he also wants his character to act with his other co-stars, so that there are some subtleties and nuances that can be allowed in the performance. So I just want to play this once again. So let's see, 115. Yep.
So when you think like that, then you try to cut down your emotions so that the other co-character does not. If you don't want to, if you don't want them to know, then you're cutting down on emotions, and what you're left with on your face are just those small nuances. Wow. So this is what I understood. It was not something that I planned like that, but I understood that my characters can act in front of my co-characters.
So just wanted to get a glimpse of how he approaches his own acting. I think that is just brilliant, and I just loved it. And if you compare it with the notes that he has here, let's see, 1 second. Okay, I'm looking at the comments here. Ashok Ramji, welcome, sir, from Facebook. Why not pick Niti Ayog video, women empowerment, one video for coding, one video on education app, and so many? Yes, absolutely. I think this is a great idea. I actually was collecting all his reading interviews, like all his interviews where he's talking about reading. So, Ashok ji, I'm going to pick up one on education and also AI, and where he's doing, because I am an educator myself. So, I'm extremely interested in what he says. And he also said some of the things that I am doing right now in 2021 that he talked about in 2018. So that is just something that always boggles my mind. And Niti Ayog video, yes, sir. We can even review that, and it's just brilliant where he talks about plastic and pollution and all that. So absolutely, thank you. Meetu ji, Shalit ji, thank you for being here. Judy, hi, thank you. Okay, I'm so happy that you are able to watch it live, Judy. Thank you, I appreciate that. Kuni from Facebook, Justice for Sushant Singh Rajput. Uh, so I'm going to try my best not to make you guys cry. I can't promise. It's just a little It's poignant. That's what I can say. That's how this is going to be. Definitely emotional, but I also want us to look at what he is as an actor objectively, because the kind of notes that he writes in preparation for a role that we just take so easily, right? Like we're like, okay, Bollywood ka movie hai, chalo acha se, like 2 hours, let's just catch a break and just go and have some fun and all that. But the kind of preparation that people like Sushant did for the role, I mean, is just mind-boggling. So let's see this acting notes. Okay, so one of the very first ones. Actually, hold on. I wanted to start with this and come back to this, but it's good. I guess we're okay, because we can revisit some of his sentences later, because I will show you how he ties it back to the other notes that he writes. So it's beautiful. Okay, I'm reading this. Let me see if it is good. Okay, readable. Okay, excellent. So find the structural pattern of the script. This is what he's telling himself. This is one of the acting notes. I don't have a date or anything on this, but this is tied to Kedarnath. And this was featured on Pink Villa. If I'm not mistaken, anybody can please correct me. And last week also I misquoted somebody as Henry Ford's quote, and somebody corrected me in the comment section. So I really appreciate that. Anybody finds anything as a mismatch, you can always please tell me. No hurt feelings here. We are all trying to do our best. So don't worry. Okay. So find the structural pattern of the script. The material will rise and fall. The intensity of the scenes will also increase and decrease. Find those dynamics, even add them to the material through your performance to make scenes exciting. So this is the additional notes other than the actual material and the script for the movie, right? So he's actually talking about the script material here, and he is saying that observe and try to understand how the scenes flow in the script. What are the patterns? How does it rise and fall? How does the intensity increase or decrease? Find the dynamics between the people in the scene, and also add them to the material through your performance so that you can make the scenes exciting. So once again, this falls into the two categories that we were discussing last week, where we are saying that he is always working to optimize his performance, whether it is on his personal life or professional life, and he is always trying to improve, build on top of what he is already doing. So here, once again, he's optimizing and he's trying, he's actually doing his best to enhance the performance that is already expected of him by trying to understand the dynamics and the intensity of the scene flow. So this is one thing. I'm just looking at the comments once in a while. So here, okay, let's go back here. So in your, of course, this is self musings, right? This is all self notes. But anybody who is also reading, who is a budding actor, so he has a lot of tips for budding actors as well, who keep asking him on Twitter. And we are going to do an episode on that, where he's talking to his fans and responding to some of their tweets or Instagram posts. So if you see, he's saying in your preparation. So basically, he's telling this to himself, but anybody who is also a budding actor can take away a lot of things from this. So if you see, in your preparation, avoid the temptation to play the end of the material in the beginning. I think this one is classic because I just loved it when I saw this. What he is saying here is, sometimes what happens is we already know what is the ending of something, right? So with the end in mind, we work on a lot of things, even in our real life, right? So the cake we are going to cut the cake, we are going to enjoy, we are going to celebrate our birthday, we know what is going to happen at the end. So usually we are like, ha chalega, kuch bhi chalega, I will just do this, do that, and like party hi to hai, cake hi to hai, and we just like, not pay attention specifically to some things, because we know the amount of time that particular scene is going to stay with us, that episode is going to stay with us. So but that is why he is telling himself, he's giving himself caution that please avoid the temptation to play the end of the material. So don't give away too much. That is what he is saying at the very beginning of the scene, so that it slowly evolves into what the audience should experience. So this is, I think, very brilliant, because it is, see, this is something that he might know, and in all the theaters and all the lessons that he must have taken for acting, he must have already figured this out. But the way that he cautions himself to avoid the temptation, I think it's just beautiful. So one second. Ashok ji, people of Modi ji, the reason we are being fooled by the Ashok ji, फिर से politics में आ गए. Okay, so Jay Madan, I feel sometime anger. How come the system in India is not uttering word to give justice to this living soul? How can the system be rude when it is composed of us only? Just so unique, everything about our angels, Sushant. Yes, Geeto Bakshi ji, welcome, ma'am. Yeah, I mean, everybody must have learnt a lot from him, around him in the ecosystem, and even Harsh, the one that's played Manav's son, in the TV series. Sorry, the name skipped me, but he also says that he's taking care of everybody around on the set, just enhancing the whole experience for them, even on those sets, right? Livia ji, welcome, ma'am. So here, VP, hi, welcome, sir. How are you? So here, what he is doing is, actors tend to play all the facets of a role all the time. Okay, wanting to make it look deep and profound, which is wrong. Get involved in what's driving you at any particular moment. So I think I just love this, because I remember a quote. I always try to, I teach one of the modules in my own classes, which is called Clarity. And there is a very famous quote by a jazz musician. I think his name is Chris or Charles. I'll have to look it up. He says that anybody can make a simple thing extremely complicated, but creativity is the one that can teach us, to simplify any complex thing. So here, if you see, he's also talking, just like how he's talking here, about the pitfalls of knowing too much of the material ahead of hand. He's also telling us that actors have another pitfall that they have to avoid, which is trying to play all the complex facets of the character and make it look like, you want to make it look like deep, rich, and everything. But what happens is, you end up confusing the audience. It's just too much to take, and you don't really know, you don't leave anything for imagination for the audience, like trying to explore what kind of a personality the person is, the actor is, in the what character he's playing. So I think this is one very good way that he's saying that, actors tend to try to play all the facets of a role all the time, wanting to make it look deep and profound. Okay, but get involved with what is driving you. You means the character at any moment. Just be there in the moment. Is it sadness? Is it joy? Is it happiness? Is it frustration? What do you have to express? Only deal with that. That is what is being said here. So let's go back to a little bit of the video, and then we can come back to this one. Okay. So the next timestamp, let me get my notes here. Okay, 313. Let's go to 313. So here, the gentleman is asking him, that there's so many different characters that you are being applauded for by the audience. So how do you, how are you able to build all these and like describe what you're feeling and all that, right? So it's uh, as he leads up to that, I just want you to listen to some things.
And Sarah is working very nicely. How do you respond when you see people sitting in dark halls, responding to certain things happening on the screen the way you guys had intended them to?
I can only
So here he says that how do you ensure, so the interviewer is asking, how do you ensure that the audience get a hang of what you're trying to depict, what you're trying to portray? And he doesn't, I mean, he answers this question, but you also have to understand how his scientific bent of mind cannot avoid but to answer it in this way. So I want you to listen to the answer and then we'll explore more on that.
assume that that's happening because I've not experienced it. I generally don't watch my film when it releases. Uh, Probably I'll watch it after a few months when I can watch two or three of my films back to back. So there is a certain takeaway. You understand that, oh, this is something that you do and should not do, because that's a pattern in all the films. You are playing three characters, so there shouldn't be any similarity in terms of unintentional. So then there is a takeaway. So I don't watch my films that much. So I don't understand. I don't have the experience of it, but I can only assume that they would understand that. And so
So here he is saying that he doesn't. So obviously he doesn't watch it immediately during the release party or something in the middle of audience and try to gauge what their expressions are and everything. But at the same time, he is also saying that he likes to watch them all together, one after the other, sometimes in a gap of few days, so that he understands how if he is bringing his own dimension, like if he's bringing his own personality into the character which he doesn't want him to bring, or if he's bringing an aspect of a character from a different movie into another one. So it's just I think that's a great technique for being a self critique to yourself. I think that's just great. And I want to draw your attention to this particular how he continues answering this question here. Let me show you 425. Okay, 420. Let's start from here, and I want you to listen to this, and then it's just amazing.
Which are either घोड़े पे या फिर आप जो मेहनत कर रहे हैं. Those are moments that are connecting with the audience. People are responding the way you guys would have wanted to.
That's great, because that's exactly what the script at those points intended to do. कि कुछ ऐसा important event नहीं होता है जिसके वजह से ये लोग close आते हैं, but just because they are together over a period of time, because of which they come together, which was the intention. तो अगर आप कह रहे हैं कि वो सारी चीजें हैं, except the लग जा गले scene, जो कि वो पहली बार मंसूर बोलता है कुछ अपने लाइफ के.
So this Lagja Gale moment where he's talking about where he first time when the girl says you don't talk too much or anything like that, and when he supposedly talks about his life that has led up to that moment, I want you to listen to what he says next, where he says that the way he has lost his father and how he blames himself for that event in his life, because of which he starts getting very, very giving, right? So at that point, he has always been so giving, sacrificing, and everything. But there is a point where he realizes what he wants for himself as Mansoor is that Mukku that he wants, the other protagonist, the lady, the leading lady. Is that what he wants? Because he doesn't want to be sacrificing anymore, because he has been nice to everybody in his life until that moment. But at some point he realizes what he wants for himself, and I think he just describes that so brilliantly here. Just check this out.
के बारे में खुलता नहीं है जनरली लोगों के सामने, लेकिन जब वो बोलते हैं कि आप कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे, And this is when he completely now goes for the girl, in the sense of उसको समझ में आ जाता है कि उसको पर्सनली क्या चाहिए अपनी लाइफ में. हमेशा उसने क्योंकि उसको बचपन से लगता है कि he is the reason of his father's death, so he's trying to compensate for it by giving to everybody else except thinking about himself. And but when he meets Mukku, he realizes that this is his personal want, and that's the conflict कि कैसे balance करे. And of course,
So this is where when he meets her, he realizes that first time that he will also have to address his own wants, because all his life, because of the kind of baggage or the guilt that he has been carrying, has been making him become so giving to everybody else. But this time he's like, this is something that I want. This is the kind of love that I want in my own life, kind of. And this is what he also talks about in his own notes. If you see, let's okay. Okay. So I just love the way he talks about his own character and the flaws, the potential flaws that they might have, and how he has to overcome them. So let's look at the first notes here. He says that my character has a need. Okay, so I want to think about me, my family, and I don't want to lose anyone else. Okay, I also want to be protected, cared, and understood. Okay, here, when Mukku enters his life, he starts feeling like she might be filling his need. So again, when you see these needs, you can see that, he wants to be able to stop and think about himself once in a while, be selfish a little bit. He wants to think about his family. He doesn't want to lose anyone, and especially the new person that he wants now, he doesn't want to lose them. He also wants to be understood. And all these needs are being met by Mukku. And he also describes and understands his personality that has led up to this moment, where all his life leading up to that, that mark where Mukku enters his life, he has always been known as, and always been selfless, caring, and sacrificing even, right? So if you see that, that is his public persona. So now, if you see the way that it's just unbelievable how he writes it down here. Okay, so he talks about 3 tragic flaws. Okay, what can happen, the kind of chemistry that can unravel itself because of the way the characters are being developed. He says the tragic flaw 1 can be when the public persona greater than the needs. So what he's saying here is he will neglect his needs because he's seen as this selfless, caring, sacrificing person. He will just neglect all his needs. And what will happen? Obviously, the result is going to be tragic for Mansoor. And here he has 2 double stars here, and he says, Brinda should make me realize that my relationship with Mukku is very selfish and can cause massive trouble to many. So I think here he just has a typo, too many, instead of that, too many. So he's saying that it looks like, so somebody is going to tell him that, right now his relationship, if he gets too involved with Mukku, he's separating himself away from what he stands for, right? He's selfless, he's caring, he's sacrificing, he doesn't even care about his own needs. He's always like giving, giving, giving. But once he starts getting attached to this love, then so hence I should and must avoid her. So this is one of the tragic flaws that he's envisioning for Mansoor. So here, okay, so let's go to the comments and see how you are reviewing it, and then we are going to go back to the video. Meanwhile, I'll just put this cute little video up while we... Okay. Okay, I think I have missed a few. 1 second, let's see. Okay, me too. Pavitra Rishta. Yes, yes, Pavitra Rishta. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah, Shalit thank you. Tripti ji, welcome, welcome. VP says hello to Tripti. Okay, so Ashnur ji, hi, welcome, ma'am. How are you? And just Sushant is beyond an actor. Another descriptor needs to be created for. I know another description needs to be created. Visionary genius. Sushant's capacity in any area he touches is beyond today's world. Truly a divine connected energy centric soul. Absolutely. And yeah, I think that's the kind of joy or that excitement that even we who are all connected here for this cause feel, right? That energy is just so palpable. You can just like, that's what I keep thinking, this is like such an integral part of my life now. You wake up to his music or go to bed with his music or whatever, or his interviews and everything, and I'm trying to decode and try to understand what he meant. Because there is always a subtle or nuance behind it where he's not giving away the full answer at once. It's just brilliant. um, Dripti ji, yes ma'am, yes. Dripti, yes. This is the problem, right? We just unnecessarily overcomplicate our life, and absolutely, absolutely, and then wonder why life is complicated. You're right, absolutely. um yeah, I love the whole scene. Lag Ja Gale also felt. Yeah, I think there was some kind of a discussion also around it in the tabloids. I believe that there was yeah, and all the talk about private jet and his her birthday party and all that. So yeah, I mean, can't comment on that, but just Suprova Nathji, welcome, ma'am. Okay, Radhe Radhe, welcome. Okay, so let's do this. Just want to go back to the video because I want to draw your attention to the next aspect of this. If you see, 1 second, I'm just. Okay, first things, I just want to talk about the t shirt before moving on because I feel like this will give a little bit of a, if you see this Schrodinger's smiley, if anybody knows what the Schrodinger's cat experiment is, and if you know Sushant's love for quantum theory, you'll be able to appreciate why and for me, honestly, I just am always looking for free t-shirts. I'm like, यार कोई हाँ कहीं event पे चले गए, free t-shirt मिल गया, चलो हो गया बस, right? But I always, so since I've seen Sushant's t-shirts, I'm like very, very like careful now about what uh, my t-shirt says and what kind of message that it conveys, because I'm very now very, very conscious. I'm like, yeah, array, 40 years I never paid attention and I just feel so sad about it. But now I'm like, okay, I need to pay attention to what I'm communicating. Because if you see this Schrodinger smiley here, is just so I don't know if I can zoom in here, but if you see the shirt, he's at once smiling and sad. If you see the smiley here, so what that Schrodinger's cat experiment by a scientist by the name Schrodinger says is that in all these realm of possibilities in quantum theory, that there is an there is a possibility of a singular reality. Okay, so there are all these superpositions that all these probabilities which are called superpositions. But when you actually go and observe that situation and get out of your imagination of possibilities to the reality, everything collapses and becomes one. So here he is saying that possibly this t-shirt means that he could be smiling or sad only when you truly observe and make that intention to truly observe him at any given point of time. You will know what his singular reality is, and that is what Schrodinger is like. Again, one of the many things that Sushant is known for, the paradoxes, right? Like it's not just direct. He'll not spoon feed us what he's thinking of at any given point of time. So that is if you're interested, you can Google like superposition theory in quantum mechanics and just try to understand it's a very famous thought experiment. You can Google it easily. So So Schrodinger smiley, I think t-shirt is just like unbelievable. That's what I think. So let's go to 1 second. I just pull up my notes here. 605. Okay, let's go to 605 now. Yeah, my internet, I don't want it to give in. Let's see. Give me 1 second. It's just loading.
Regards to this love jihad angle, how do you look at it?
Mostly,
Okay, this is a very, very critical question. If you see, the gentleman who is actually interviewing him is Muslim, and Sushant is obviously a Hindu. But look at the kind of compassion that both of them bring to the table of just setting an intention key. We are going to understand each other and try to come together to address this very complex situation of what has been labeled as love jihad right now. So if you just go back a few seconds, it's a very, very complex question. Initially, he doesn't, he's obviously, because it's a very, very tough question, he is playing around with his words, and he doesn't give a direct answer, because obviously he cannot alienate or hurt anybody's feelings knowingly or unknowingly. So what he does is, just let's play the first answer and then the follow-up question and the answer. So you'll observe how this is taken, and it's just done brilliantly, executed by both these gentlemen, very, very carefully and compassionately towards each other. It's just amazing. So let's do this. Let's try from here.
full scene. But other than that, it was meant like that.
So certain protests have been there with regards to this love jihad angle, how do you look at it?
Mostly, we mix contexts. तो हमारा कॉन्टेक्स्ट अलग होता है और बातें सेम होती हैं जो कॉन्टेक्स्ट में अलग अलग साउंड करती हैं. वी हैव टू डिफाइन व्हाट द हमारे डेफिनेशन में फिल्म करती क्या ये एंटरटेनमेंट है, फिक्शन है, फिर तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. क्या ये रियलिटी बता रहे हैं क्योंकि उससे अगर पब्लिक इन्फ्लुएंस ओपिनियन हो सकता है तो ऑफ कोर्स उनको रिस्पांसिबल होना चाहिए. बट देन देयर इज सीबीएफसी, देयर इज जुडिशरी, देयर इज अ वे टू गो अबाउट इट. लेकिन आपको लगता है कि ये बहुत ही immediately ho jayega, we need to have a talk. So there are ways you can do it. Yes.
So here what he's saying is, he's obviously, he has to be, some parts of India it was banned. There were a lot of protests being done around the movie. There was talk that this was going to promote some kind of love jihad and all that. So he had to be very so what he says is, he is saying that what is the ultimate commitment for any kind of a movie? What does it have to convey? So he is requesting us to please put everything in context. This is entertainment, and he says that there is a bigger message that they are trying to convey through all this. So let's not take out that love story angle out of context. Okay, so that's what he's requesting us. And he's saying that the cinema board is there, or the judiciary is there. If there is anything like that that they see or observe is happening, they will do whatever is in their capacity to do it. But he's requesting us that if this is going to be somehow influencing the general public immediately, then obviously he says that we will have to sit down and talk about it. It is it's such a difficult question, and the way he answers it with such grace, obviously he hasn't completely answered it, to which this gentleman, the interviewer, actually helps him out a little bit. And the interaction again is very, 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 very brilliant. Okay, so let me show this aspect of it. Okay, so from here, I want you to listen to it, and then we are going to talk about context, correlation, and causation. So he's asking us to look, zoom out and look at all that in a bigger frame of scheme of things, and not take anything out of context for your own religious reasons, or let's not exploit it for any other reasons, but just stay with the, stay with this story here. So listen to this, and then I'll pause, and then we'll talk about it a little bit.
By a lot of people कि ये बात एकदम बिल्कुल गलत थी कि प्रलय इस वजह से आई कि एक मुस्लिम फैमिली को केदारनाथ से जाने के लिए बोल दिया गया, ये तो कोई जिक्र भी नहीं था उसका। तो दैट वाज नेवर,
वही मैं कह रहा हूँ कि
जो एनवायरनमेंट का आपने जो बोला था कि भाई ओवर कमर्शियलाइजेशन नहीं होना चाहिए, उसका तो कोई जिक्र ही नहीं हो रहा है।
देखिए वही जैसे आप
So he's saying that he's adding to it that there is a context missing, that the environmental pollution or over commercialization of all these beautiful, hilly areas for tourism purposes and all those things, because of which floods or global warming or anything like that is happening. That is the reason why pralay will come, not because a Muslim family is being forced to evacuate from there and move out of town. And all that, right? So that is what this interviewer says, and then Sushant responds like this.
ये बात को specifically कहा. So now I understand the context. I can give you a specific answer to this. As a society, we don't acknowledge nuance, and that gets manifested in different major problems that we have today. It is the same thing. We don't see that there's a difference between a correlation and a causation. चीजें साथ में अक्सर होती हैं. अगर ऐसा होता तो ये 2-3 चीजें साथ में होती और वो होंगी. There is a pattern. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि ये चीज ये कॉज कर रही है. So there is a difference between correlation and causation. तो यही बात है कि जब एक स्टोरी हुई थी, हम तो बोल ही रहे ना कि फिक्शन है, इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ एन इवेंट जो हुआ था. तो फिक्शन में जब ये बात हुई थी कि उसने बोला कि तो प्रलय आएगी, happened to be coincidental with the cause, but this was not the cause. So ये difference हम.
So once again, if you go back and listen to what he's trying to say, he's telling us that there is a bigger, these nuances are not, they have not been spoon fed to us कि देखो इसके वजह से global warming हो रही है, इसके वजह से प्रलय हो रही है. Like there is a subtle way of telling the story, and they're using these characters, but just because in the context all these things are happening, there cannot be an obvious correlation or a causation. So I think that is a great way of saying that these are not necessarily interrelated here, at least in this movie. But of course, he also doesn't deny the fact that media has a huge responsibility on how you're portraying things and everything. But he's also trying to not alienate his Hindu brothers or Muslim brothers, and try to handle this very complex and very tough question in a very great way. So see, that is the thing I always think happens usually when we always get into an ecosystem, and we immediately try to start explore. Okay, so hey, यहाँ पे कुछ अपना फायदा का कुछ हो सकता है, let's see, and we start dominating that ecosystem, and then we start exploiting. See, sometimes politicians do that, sometimes people in power do that, and all those. So how do you, people are exploiting religion, and people are exploiting creating divisions for their own benefit. But sometimes when people are genuinely telling stories or genuinely trying to express an idea through the medium of movie also, they can be taken out of context. So that's what he is asking us to please refrain from doing that. People are out there to exploit once, because they're part of the ecosystem. They're like, hum kuch bolne se kuch, people will try to misinterpret this and take it another way route. So it's just I think this is, he answered it. I mean, I think he did a good job. Honestly, that's what I feel. It's a very difficult question, and you're put on the spot. And in these two gentlemen, the interaction is just, yeah. Okay, so let's see. 1 second, I'm going to the comment section. The Jolly Ghoshal ji, okay, welcome, ma'am. How are you? Saloni ji, welcome, ma'am. Thank you, Jolly ji. Appreciate that, ma'am. So Sushant and Faridhan had always had interesting interviews over the years on various movies. He interviewed him for Sushant's first movie till the last. He trusted Faridhan. Oh, okay, interesting. This is a good tidbit. Thank you so much, Bituji. Because I've never like stopped watching movies 10 years ago, but I got into like all this watching Sushant's interviews and trying to understand his movies because of Sushant. So, but I am going to check back and I would love to see if there are any old videos that we can talk about. That will be awesome. Saloni ji, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your footage here. Thank you. So here, let's see. Okay, I just want to go back to the notes here. Let's see which one we have worked on till now. I think we have done acting too. Okay. So I have kept the most interesting. Okay, excuse me, not this one. Hold on. Yes. Okay. So I've kept the last two interesting ones at the very end, acting notes. I mean, everything is interesting actually for me. But if you see, let's just go back a quick second here about what he talks about the tragic flaw number one, where he says his public persona is greater than his needs and he'll start neglecting his needs. And that will be tragic, where he will not be able to pursue Mukku because that will seem like he is selfish. So that is tragic flaw number one. Next, he goes into tragic flaw number two, where he says his needs have become more than his public persona. Okay, this is also a tragic flaw, excuse me. And he says, I give up. I cannot see Mukku suffering like this, and me too. So what he says is he will just give in to his needs because he just cannot see them being apart. So that he'll just give in to his needs. And that will also be tragic because he will neglect everybody else and he will, get what he wants in the end. He also perceives this as a tragic flaw, if you can see that. The next one is tragic flaw number three, which is be greater than, okay, no, this is the, hold on. Thought this is the same as acting number two. Yeah, never mind. Okay. So tragic. So he says either one. So I believe, and I don't think of my need. Yeah, this is actually, unfortunately, this is the same thing as tragic flaw number one. Flaw number one. So he's saying that in both these contexts, how tragedy can strike, even when he's not neglecting his needs or neglecting his needs, he feels that it's going to be a tragic flaw in the script, like in the story of Mansoor. So let's do that now. I just want to go into acting notes number three. So I just want you to see this one, how he writes down. So 1 second, let me see. Okay. So where are you emotionally at the beginning of the scene? What is the rhythm of the emotion? Faster, slower, normal. So here he is literally like his meditative notes that he wants to look back on before the beginning of every scene, right? Where is he emotionally? And then he talks about these external and the internal factors, because after all, he is also a human who is now going to play somebody else's character. So he's asking himself to just create like a checkpoint for himself to understand his own emotions, right? Because he will have to then go at the beginning of the scene to try to emote as the other character. So he wants to be able to understand the rhythm of that emotion. Is it a fast-paced scene? Is it a slower scene? A lot of drama, a lot of nuances, a lot of crying and all that, or is it just a regular, day-to-day life kind of a scene? Okay, so here he is asking himself once again that two kinds of things that he sees can be playing out for himself. Okay, the character, what are the character's obstacles right now? Who is standing in his way? And what are the other person's lines? Because he says you will sensitize yourself to the kind of resistance you're facing. Understand what is not being said. So this, I see it in two different ways. If you will please allow me to elaborate here, I'll tell you what is happening. He's talking about himself as a person, and he's talking himself as an actor. Let's say his co-stars, they all meet, 9 o'clock shoot here, everybody's drinking tea, warming up, whatever. People are interacting, some people are not interacting. That will also affect our emotions, right? Yahan pe koi, oh, why didn't they add me to the group? Why didn't they put me on that call? Why am I not part of the group Zoom call? We just like keep, thinking about all those things, right, in our head as a human being. And he also says that it is also important for him to kind of understand the resistance you're facing as an actor as well. Inside the character, what is the other co-star trying to emote? So I just love this externalization and internalization of all these, ideas, so that he can really deeply delve into the character. So, okay. Again, internally, what is happening in your own system, in your own life, as a real person and as an actor, that is going to, what are these ideas? So let's say you're playing a part in this movie, but you don't really identify with the character, or you don't believe in that role. I mean, hopefully he wouldn't have done anything that he didn't believe in. But what are those your own ideas that will be a roadblock for how you will perform? So it's just all these, the way he just, it's just amazing how he prepares himself, the person Sushant, and the actor Sushant, with all these notes here. So yeah, just want to keep it here if you guys want to read it. And then just go to the comments. 1 second. So Jolly G, welcome, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. We are doing well, thank you. Yeah, you're right. Actually, Mituji, yeah. So he names Mukku, but yes, that's a very good observation. Actually, he's talking as if he's not talking about Mansoor in third person. He's just talking it as if it is him. Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. Sharon Ji, yes, Pavitra Rishta, thank you. Somebody else also mentioned that. I appreciate that, ma'am. Yeah, that is true. He always likes to just like a common man, so identifiable, right? For me, Chichore was the movie that I had watched, and um where I totally identified with the struggle that he was going, especially in his older, role, where he is the parent and he is like trying to give his child some wings, his freedom, and that difficulty that he was facing with that is just like that. I love that characterization of his and the way he played it. Okay, interesting. Okay, so Livia G also is saying that. Okay, excellent. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way they interact as a human to human level, right? Just so it's very rare to see that kind of interviewing skills from Faridunji. Also, that's amazing. Yeah, Jolly J, I agree with you, ma'am. Yeah, he just enhances the character and the personality. I agree. So I just have a few more timestamps here. Let's go back. Okay, so my next one, let's see. Okay, so Pralay and environmental destruction and all that, we just looked at it. So here, okay, this is going to be really deep, guys. I'm giving you a prelude to this because I want you to understand this, and we are going to try to figure out what he's saying. Look at so it's like the seer and this person who is being seen. Like it's just so meta, the whole thing. It's just so complex the way he talks. Look at this.
अच्छी बात है कि लोग बात करते हैं, अच्छी बात है कि क्वेश्चन उठता है, अच्छी बात है कि लोग इतनी जल्दी एक्शंस ले सकते हैं. ये सारी बहुत अच्छे टेक अवेज हैं. लेकिन if we are concerned about why we are doing what we are doing, then we need to sit together to come together. We don't need to fight together to come together.
Right. Certain scenes in the movie where we
Once again.
अच्छी बात है कि लोग इतनी जल्दी एक्शंस ले सकते हैं, ये सारी बहुत अच्छे टेक अवेज हैं, लेकिन if we are concerned about why we are doing what we are doing, then we need to sit together to come together. We don't need to fight together to come together.
So what he's saying obviously is a continuation of like that love jihad question, where he's like, it's okay, let people question, let people debate, because again, that is a dying skill even among us in the real world, right? Like it's not, we are like sugarcoating everything. We are like, if somebody says something, we are not ready to question or counter them, because we're just like, "Arey yaar, why you get into that drama and everything?" So it's okay, but argue or debate or question in a way that makes sense or anything like that. So he's saying that it's okay if you have a question or anything, let's sit on the table and discuss and try to figure out the solution rather than just play the blame game and all kinds of things. So it's great, and I just want to follow up with this, and I want you to understand the next part.
certain scenes in the movie where we realize that we have this, this arrogance about a lot of things, but the fact is when nature decides to take action, everyone is equal, everyone is vulnerable.
Absolutely.
There are talks of a major earthquake possibility in Himalayas.
Absolutely.
It can be catastrophic. Something is, I think 7.5 has happened in Antarctica today. Do you think that it's important for people to realize that just fighting over trivial issues like religion and that मैं तुमसे बेहतर हूँ और मेरी बात माननी चाहिए, you think it's high time people realize that?
हाई टाइम से भी अगर कुछ ज्यादा इमीडिएट टाइम हो सकता है, तो वो टाइम है अभी, बिकॉज दिस इज फॉर श्योर, आवर इग्नोरेंस कैन नॉट स्टॉप what is inevitable.
Okay, so this part I will take it up in the education section. I just want to leave it at that. Just this is, the our ignorance will not stop the inevitable. I just want you to just soak in that as much as possible. And let's go to 1207. Okay, just listen to the context of where he says Namo Namo and how much he kind of, made the character Namo Namo. I mean, made the character Mansoor to follow the idea behind what Namo Namo song is all about.
That's precise.
Amit Trivedi's music and Amitabh Bhattacharya's lyrics, I think they're stars in their own right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
I'll give my major credit to Amit Trivedi and Mr. Amitabh for. I actually based my character on Namo Namo. Let me be very honest. So this is a weird thing that I understand my character by, which is I'll pick up songs or probably compositions, and it just tells me something about my character. The rhythm of it. I visualize कर पाता हूँ. Namo Namo single-handedly define the character for me. Although I understood my character as a metaphor, कि जैसे destruction होगा, Shiva है, destruction होगा तो it will not discriminate. So probably I can.
So he's saying that Mansoor's character is a metaphor for, when destruction happens, it is just indiscriminate. I think that is a very, very important takeaway that he personally took it. And I think that for us also will set an idea of what this character is and how he was playing it. Because in the end, he has he has his own personality, which is, he carefully crafted it to be like a selfless giving character, and he has these needs and desires and wants when he is about to fall in love. But in the end, it's just our real life, right? We plan so many things. You're like, oh, this dabba, I'll nicely put it here, then I'll put this cup here. Oh, my pen, I don't want to dry it, I don't want it to dry, so let me just put it carefully. Oh, I'll just, oh, यहाँ पे बाल, okay, ऐसे कर सकते हैं. We do all these small things, but at the end of the day, we don't remember that nothing will matter when the time comes, that the inevitable is, always, we never know when the inevitable is around the corner. So it's just, the way he describes the metaphor is just brilliant. So let's see one more thing here, and then we'll go back to the last two final slides of that. Let's go. 1433 is amazing. This is what I wanted to conclude with here. No, I have two more actually. 1433. Okay, excellent. So now I want you to hear about what he says when the reviews about the movie are mixed, and what his response is to all those people who review his movie. Okay, not the general public, but the reviewers.
So the reviews have been a bit mixed, and so I was reading one review, and I was a bit perplexed that when it said that that the name of your character is Mansoor, and Mansoor Ali Khan Patodi was Sara Ali Khan's grandfather. So the reviewer felt it was a bit inappropriate.
So, and then look at his comeback, like so many of his quirky comebacks. I just love this.
So till the time it was not pointed out, so
It was
no one,
inappropriate.
yeah, because
What was
that's
it?
his grandfather. Mansoor Ali Khan Patodi was her grandfather. So I couldn't understand the context.
So
What
if
is
I name myself Trump, will I be treated like one?
I don't know. I don't know. So what is your take on reviews?
So I think that's classic, and he says like, how does the name matter in the end, kind of a thing. We just give so much of importance. Oh, I'm Rachana, I'm Rachana, I'm Rachana. So what, right? It doesn't matter. In 8 billion people, I'm Rachana. I in Atlanta itself, I know 4 Rachana. So how does it matter? So he's just like playing that up a little bit here.
So this is my answer. If I if I rename myself as Trump, will that change
Things.
the reviewers' view on my
Perception.
performance?
Perception.
I can change. I can have different names. I don't have a problem at all.
Okay, so final point here, 1614. This is what I want to conclude with, because although there are a few questions of Kedarnath here and there in the rest of the thing, he just goes off on education, like just a lot of other things as well. So I just wanted to keep this to Kedarnath. Okay, so I want you to listen to this and understand how he talks about analysis versus observation. It's just so, once again, unique to how Sushant's thought process. That's why I just love this answer, and how he combines neurochemistry and how the brain works and everything all at once. And it's just fascinating. Sorry, my internet. Let me try to stop my camera so it's better. Nah. Okay, let's hope there is no advertisement here.
All I'm trying to say is there is something that we understand in science, and science doesn't deal in philosophy. Science means maths. It says that when you have an experience, when you watch it, like you're watching it and you have an experience, and when you're analyzing and watching the experience,
J.
these two experiences are completely two different experiences. Now, what are we talking about?
I like the guy's expressions here. Look at what he says. He's like, "Yaar, tum kya bolna chahte ho?" Right? So it's just amazing the way Faridun looks at him. Yeah, internet. I'm so sorry, guys.
And watching the experience,
J.
these two experiences are completely two different experiences.
So, so I want to put those black glasses on him and like make a thug life meme out of this. It's just so funny because he's like, what are you trying to say, right? But if you understand how he would just talk about the observer, looking at his own reality, and again in his mind's eye. Okay, whoops, sorry, hold on. He's looking at his own reality, and the reality is being analyzed back to him, like how the Rene Descartes said, from the mind's eye, how do you perceive, right? He talks about that. The observation versus the analysis are completely two different things of the, so reviewing may how the process works and everything, he talks about it. It's a beautiful answer. So once again, this is 1614. Let's go back here. Okay.
All I'm trying to say is there is something that we understand in science, and science doesn't deal in philosophy. Science means maths. It says that when you have an experience, when you watch it, like you're watching it and you have an experience, and when you're analyzing and watching the experience, these two experiences are completely two different experiences. Now, what are we talking about? I have seen reviewers sitting with a pen and a diary, and while the film is happening, the writing is happening. I'm not saying it is right, wrong, very good, very bad. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying, which science says, and I'm quoting, you are analyzing and viewing. You can't get more analytical than this, right? You're analyzing and viewing, or you could have just viewed. And these two happen to be completely different experiences by neurochemistry. So what are we talking about?
Interesting.
So here though Faridul is just like speechless because he's like, yaar ye to mere bas ki baat nahi hai, right? So it's just amazing. But this is what I had as far as this review is concerned. Just want to conclude with this. Okay, 1 second. Let's go here. Just looking at the comments. Yeah, absolutely. And, the source of inspiration is so high that, we are just fighting for that loss of potential, and we are fighting for that, what we are missing so much now. So he obviously laid a foundation, in his own right, by just leaving a legacy so big that we are not able to stop talking about the loss of potential here. So it's just, that is the most heartbreaking thing. Judy says, if a man can bridge the gap between life and death, if he can live on after he's dead, then maybe he was a great man. Yeah. This quote is James Dean, whom he loved to, other quotes of his SSR so much. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Judy. He is one person for me who has transcended that legacy that outlives you, right? Like outlives your own life as you're living. Like it just, he has transcended that, and like his fame is obviously more than when he has lived. And this is like, that's because of how we just can't stop celebrating him and his legacy. Our ignorance, yeah, it is. This is also one of my favorite. Our ignorance cannot stop what is inevitable, and that's what I keep seeing even in the AI revolution. Even right now, we are in the middle of a software 2.0 revolution. Like so many things are happening around us, and we are like, I'm going to still stick with this. Like things are working this way. Let me just stay like this and all that. And we are not going to stop what is inevitable. We're just going to ignore it for as long as we can. But that doesn't mean things are going to stop. So. सेंटी कर दिया बॉस Sanjay says, I'm a big fan of you, sir, and you're my life inspiration. Oof. Last scene of Kedarnath is very sad, and SSR lies in to save the life of father for his son. Okay, wow, okay, I did not know. Sorry, guys. Anybody who hasn't watched, this is a spoiler. I didn't realize that. Jody says Sushant could be anything in life. If he had a chance, he would have an excellent year. So much was taken away from him achieving. Yep. Yeah. Hopefully, we are going to very soon talk about what happened on June 13th and June 14th, and what are our most important questions around those dates. Because we are forgetting, so much is happening and around us, people, emotions, drama, fake news, diaries, everybody's agenda. So we're just forgetting why we are here. So we'll have to get back to that. And these are again ways of how we are going to keep this memory alive. So Sushant is basically saying that if you want to be critical of movie, you see the movie in a critical way, but watch a movie for the joy, you have a different experience. Yeah, absolutely. Mituji, yeah, your take is amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Just, you know, don't mix your own agenda and exploit and for your own purposes. Absolutely well said, ma'am. Yeah. Yes, Saloni ji. Yeah. Either you watch or analyze. Yeah. What happened? Okay. So specifically, Pramod, I don't know. Sorry, I was not paying attention to. Oh. Yeah, my internet, I think that was the problem. Policy violations. Oh, has it already happened? I hope not. But if anything happens, I'll just edit it. Don't worry. It is what it is. I wanted to do this because I just felt so excited looking at it. So was it suspended? Yeah, you're not able to see it anymore. I don't know. Okay, gone again. Okay, so it's okay. It's okay. There might have been a copyright strike on it or anything like that. It's okay. Don't worry. Just I'll try to edit it and talk to the YouTube. So okay, left messages. Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing this message once again. So maybe there is a problem with mine. Okay. So here, I just want to leave with these few notes here. So let me see on YouTube if this is still working. If not, I'll have to edit it and post it. Anybody able to see my live stream now? Okay. Pramod can see it. Excellent. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Okay. So let's just continue here. A couple of more notes here. And I want you to tie it back to the original thing that he's talking about. Note where he talks about, like, understand the script and don't portray the ending of the scene at the very beginning. Okay, so that is, he says that have the end in mind, but don't act it out initially. So that's one of his cautions that he tells himself early on. And here now he has notes for himself on how to mark his script. So jo script milta hai usko material, he is also making notes on how to highlight those scripts. It's just like this guy is just over and beyond. So matlab, he says that how do you mark your script? So for every scene, he says that there should be a bottom line. It is important that you keep every moment in your work as clear and articulate as possible. Work must be simple at any given point of time. Simple moments, rich, fully dimensional characterization. Okay, so again, we were talking about how to simplify, and not overcomplicate. And as Tripti was also saying, just have this uncanny ability to complicate things unnecessarily. So here, if you see, the quickest way to achieve this is to find the bottom line of the scene. What is the scene about in terms of what you need to accomplish? That is what is driving the scene. Okay, if the preparation is good, that's all you need to make the moment work. So everywhere, if you see, the general theme also is around being in the moment fully. So if you can imagine myself, okay, my cell phone right now is in airplane mode, but I'll show you. If I'm like, 1 second here, I'm doing this YouTube live, but let me check messages, right? You will obviously see that I'm not in the moment and I am like somewhere else, and I feel like I don't want to be here. But that is what the beauty of mindfulness is. You're 100% giving your attention to me, and I'm giving my 100% attention to you, right? So that is why this is going to work like magic. And that's what he's saying. Being in the moment, preparation is good, but that's all you need to make that moment work. Because leading up to the point, you know that you have done your best to prepare and now be here with this emotion that the character demands of you. So this is one thing. In the last final page, let me go here. Okay. Okay. So here, okay, once again, he says that that's all you should play until another strong stimulus shifts to another bottom line. So, let's say the thing is, the scene is where somebody has to be rescued. But in that drama, you suddenly realize that there is also another person stuck somewhere else that you have to go and rescue them. So he's asking for watching out for shifts in bottom line. And again, he also tells himself once again, don't play all the facets of the character at all times. Some of our Nepo kids are very popular with all these things. I won't go further into that. Build your role one moment at a time. Just simplify radically. That's what he's saying. Your work will be clear, strong, and dynamic. And look at how he's saying. He also talks about the process and he talks about the outcome, which is like very, very unique, because this intention you set on it, which will lead to the outcome, is just brilliant. Not a whole lot of us have that. If I'm doing this right now, what is the outcome? We don't often think about that. But he's also saying that if you do it, keep things simple right now, it will be clearer, more efficient, stronger, dynamic, and all that. Okay, so now bottom line, the scene. Okay, in the simplest term possible, decide what is the major force driving you through the scene. What do you need to accomplish at this moment in your life? In your character's life, what has to be achieved? Whether you're giving away something selflessly, or you're moving out of town, or your frustration has manifested itself into something else. Like, what is that you have to show? And here, see again, don't over intellectualize, just play the bottom line. Don't learn your lines. Find triggers for your next response. Now study the trigger and stimulus and response dynamic one at a time. I just want to talk about this. One of the very first episodes we have done, we talked about this. One second, let me just pull that up. So these words are very critical if you want to understand life. Let me pull this up 1 second. I just okay. Dude, where is I'm searching for a specific Viktor Frankl. Man's search for meaning. I'm just looking for that here, which I'll explain to you what this means. Okay. Okay, found it. So here, okay. So if you see this, I just want to juxtapose. Okay. So I want you to look at this. Find the triggers for your next response. Okay. Now study the trigger. What has caused that stimulus inside you? Somebody says something. So let's say somebody is like writing a bad comment here. Immediately that will trigger something in me that I have to defend myself. But most often than not, that stimulus that I have received in my heart doesn't have to react. It doesn't have to convey itself in a reaction. Okay, it can be a simple response. So what I was trying to show you here is Viktor Frankl. I want you to read his book. Okay, so this is the book I'm talking about. This is, can you see it? Okay, let me see. Yeah, so this is the book that I'm talking about, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. So this is a book that I request you to please read. And he says this: between stimulus and response, there is a space. Okay, in that space is our power to choose our response. So a lot of people come to trigger us in our life, but we are giving away our freedom if we react to every single thing that other people are putting down on us. So I want you to please understand that in our response lies our growth and our freedom. So this is something. So the minute he wrote this down, I'm pretty sure he probably read this world famous book, and he also is trying to analyze how a character would respond at any given point of time. Would he, based on how he is as a human being, as a character, what will his response be? So he's trying to understand the stimulus, try to understand his character, and then build the response. So that is So this is, because he's such a reader, we need to also be able to read some important books, and this is one of the books. Man's Search for Meaning is a must read for anybody who wants to. And basically, what he did was he talks about logotherapy. He invented logotherapy, which is, life has meaning in all circumstances, even the most miserable ones. So that is the lesson that comes out of Viktor Frankl's memoir. Okay, so I want to conclude this with a couple of pictures I found on the internet. Just, this, once again, I look at this picture and I'm like, ye kya ho raha hai yahan pe? Like, why is he so amazing? Just look at the way he. Okay. So this is what he has to play, and this is how he practices. It's just. It's something else, man. I mean, this motivates me to always do the right thing, always try my best, and just like give it my full. Whenever I see these kind of pictures of his, I'm like, man, I need to try. I need to be a better person than this. Uh, look at this. And he also has his treadmill on incline and he's practicing. Matlab, kuch bhi, right? Like, it's just fascinating. Um, so, one second, let's see. Okay. So it's basically told reviewers are like people in a concert recording cell phones are not enjoying. Okay. Pramod, absolutely correct. Yeah. What is the experience? Wow. This is like another level, Pramod. That is awesome. Thank you. Thank you. This is awesome. I'm going to use this. I'm going to steal this idea. Yeah. So I keep thinking about this whenever, I mean, like 2 years have happened since I've gone to any public event, thanks to Corona. But I keep thinking, what is the point of recording the entire thing? Matlab, just fascinates me to no end. Uh, then selfies. We'll have to have an entire session on selfies. I just like it's another topic for another day, though. Um, Life is a box of chocolates, Forrest Gump. I know. I don't know. There's so many quotes from Forrest Gump. It's just unbelievable. Justice for SSR. Yes, Leena ji, thank you. This is the whole mission here. Yeah, so just want to leave you with this image. And I also believe I have one more image. Let's see. Okay, never mind. I just showed you that at the very beginning. Let me see this one. Okay, right here. So, anybody else wants to come and hang out? I'll just 5 minutes. Let's see. Please, you're welcome to come and hang out. Just talk what your thought is on anything. This is just my review, so you can give your own opinion. And I also want to do something else. Okay. No, I don't. Sorry, this is not a promo by any means. Okay, Saloni ji likes the movie Forest Gump. Okay, excellent. Okay, so yeah, it is one of the classics, right, Saloni ji? Yeah, it's just brilliant. The storytelling and the characterization, just another level. If I have to say Dubai Tamilians words, it's Vera level. So, okay, so just let's do one more picture once again. Oops, not this one. Okay, I want to leave you with this inspiration until next week. Let me try to see if I can play the video. I'm always so clumsy with the video thing. Just have to stop the. Give me 1 second. Okay, I found the video. Let's see. Look at the comments. No. Wow. Dude, are you serious? Is this real, Mituji? Oh my gosh. One of the reasons I picked this movie was because interview was because I also found the notes, and not only that, I haven't watched it, so I didn't want it to cloud my review. So, wow, Modi ji is coming to DC. Wow, that is interesting news. Okay, Mituji, thank you. I will try to watch it. I think I'm going to be overwhelmed. That's why I'm not watching, and I'm just going to be very emotional. That's why I'm trying not to watch. Okay, so I'm going to conclude by playing the video. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with me. I appreciate all your time. You spent 90 minutes, which is in this time and age like a generation. So I appreciate that. Let's do one thing. Stop the sharing. Let me just do this one quickly. Okay, stop sharing and then playing. Livia G, I know. It's okay. We are all here for each other. Don't worry. So let's play the video.